And we thank you for listening to Towards Fellowship for the week of January 14th through the 20th, 2018. Towards Fellowship is the Ministry Connection podcast of Fellowship Bible Church right here in Mullica Hill, New Jersey. Hi, this is Pastor Scott. Well, hopefully you're taking the time to be in the Word this week and focusing on your personal relationship with Christ, and that is outpouring into your relationship with your spouse and also your kids, and you're helping them in their engagement with the Word. Really important for us as parents that our kids see that the Scriptures are important to us, not just on Sunday morning, but all throughout the week. And a tool we've been talking about is the Quiet Time Diary, which really allows us to do that. So if you've been looking at the Quiet Time Diary this week, as a church, we are in week 3, which means we are studying Proverbs chapter 6, verse 1 through chapter 8, verse 11. Possibly a key thought or key phrase from this passage would be seeking wisdom over anything. And you can even see the writer there in the Proverbs talking about the importance of wisdom being elevated above all material possessions. How wisdom is something that we should be obtaining. And as your kids are looking at their quiet time this week, they're starting out their quiet time talking about the ant. And they would have seen that this week in Sunday and Monday, and the wisdom of the ant in thinking ahead. So even in the summertime, the ant is preparing for the wintertime. They're always thinking ahead with their choices. Boy, some great application there with our kids, isn't there? And for us as adults also, that our choices are always causing us to think ahead. And a great question that my wife will oftentimes ask our kids is this wise? Is this a wise decision? It might be something you're able to do, but is this a wise decision? So some good discussion there in our quiet times, focusing on thinking ahead and allowing wisdom to guide our choices. In Sunday school this past Sunday, the kids were studying the story of Ruth. And their study of the book of Ruth focused on Ruth's kinsman redeemer, Boaz, which is an incredible picture of Christ. And also that whole story of Ruth really helps us to better understand God's sovereignty. Particularly there, the last verses in Ruth, where it sets up King David and the lineage of King David, which also rolls right into Matthew's account of how Ruth factors into the lineage of Jesus Christ. So some great discussion can happen there with our kids based on what they're learning in Ruth, and they wrapped up that study this past Sunday. In Ignite this week, which is our ministry to 5th and 6th grade, Steve will be focusing on the enemy, the enemy, and what is your strategy to defend yourself against the enemy. So we started that foundation last week talking about the enemy, who is he, and that he is Satan, he's an accuser. This week, we're going into what is your strategy to defend yourself against the enemy. In third place, junior high Wednesday night, they will be in their small group time, so no lesson per se because they'll be in small groups. In third place, senior high Wednesday night, Pastor Justin will be continuing the series that they've started a few weeks back on prayer and meditation. In third place, high school, Sunday school, the teens will be continuing their series in 1 Corinthians, looking again at chapters 10 and 11. So let's be engaging our kids in all that they're learning and setting good examples ourselves by staying connected to Christ through His Word. So this was the Towards Fellowship podcast for the week of January 14th through the 20th. Thanks for listening.